2022 was a crazy and tumultuous year for the business world.
If he succeeds in Ukraine, he's not going to stop there. He's going to challenge the freedom and democracy.
While most of us probably want to forget all about it and dive straight into 2023, it's important to reflect and learn from the past. Here are the biggest business stories that defined the year and the key lessons for us to remember. As we rang in 2022, markets remained near all-time highs. Record levels of inflation at 7% didn't seem to faze anyone, especially not Jerome Powell, who kept the federal funds rate close to zero throughout the first quarter.
We are strongly committed to achieving the monetary policy goals that Congress has given us. Today, in support of these goals, the Federal Open Market Committee kept its policy interest rate near zero.
The Fed continued to pour billions of dollars into the economy through bond purchases, assuring markets that a soft landing was still possible. Few people worried about a recession. Why would we? If the world's most competent economists say we'll be fine, we will be fine, right? Not quite. Jay Powell and his team of central bankers soon realized that inflation was a beast that could only be tamed with extreme force. The Fed hiked rates from 0.25% in March all the way to 4.5% in December, and the word recession hit an all-time high on Google Trends. 2022 reminded us that good economic times don't last forever, and the Fed can't print money in perpetuity. We can't avoid the ebb and flow of credit cycles, only prepare for them. The music always stops at some point, no matter what central bankers and politicians say. Warren Buffett's famous adage that it takes 20 years to build a reputation but only 5 minutes to ruin it was likely on Jerome Powell's mind as he struggled to save the economy and his own reputation. But Powell wasn't the only person vying for the title of savior. Another man decided to enter the race. On February 24th, Putin sent 200,000 soldiers into Ukraine in the biggest European invasion since World War II. Putin called this a special military operation to save the Ukrainian people from its fascist government. The Ukrainian government called on the international community for help.
A crime has been committed against Ukraine, and we demand just punishment.
Unsurprisingly, no country was willing to directly confront Russia due to the risk of a full-blown world war. Instead, Western governments condemned the invasion and imposed economic sanctions, which temporarily sent the Russian ruble off a cliff. But the ruble would recover, and despite Western governments sending heavy artillery to Ukraine, Putin showed little signs of backing down. Russia's invasion taught me that a major war in Europe was unfortunately not a thing of the past. I had come to believe that a combination of the European Union, NATO's enlargement, and economic independence was going to make Europe a sustainable zone of peace. I was wrong. As a Swede, I never had to worry about the threat of war. Sweden hasn't fought a war in more than 300 years, but conversations with friends and family quickly turned into worst-case scenarios as we urged our government to join NATO. It taught me the importance of independence and to not rely on anyone else for my safety and economic well-being. The war also highlighted the end of the petrodollar and America's limited influence on global affairs. But this wouldn't stop Elon Musk. As the Russia-Ukraine war raged on, Elon decided to double down on his influence. In April, the world's richest person said he wanted to own Twitter and offered to acquire the social platform for $44 billion until he changed his mind. In October, after being sued by Twitter, Elon reversed course again, saying he would complete the deal. In the ensuing days, Elon fired top executives, laid off 75% of the company's staff, and trolled anyone who would speak up against him. Elon's acquisition highlighted how the world is one giant playground for anyone with a lot of power and money. We can either sit and complain about it, or we can allow ourselves to be inspired and find ways to level up our own game. But the story also revealed some cracks and weaknesses under Elon's seemingly ironclad suit. While money can buy pretty much everything, it can't buy self-awareness. Elon's behavior in the past year made it clear to me that he, just like everyone else, has his own fair share of insecurities. The way he handled the acquisition and how he publicly fired Twitter employees wasn't a pretty sight. However, it did set a precedent for private equity shops and other tech firms. If Twitter can run smoothly with only 25% of its workforce, should other companies follow suit? How many employees does a company actually need to run its operations? This is a question a lot of tech companies ask themselves in 2022. A rising interest rate environment coupled with changing consumer habits forced tech companies to reconsider their hiring strategies, leading to a wave of layoffs. So much, in fact, that it surpassed levels from the 2008 financial crisis. More than 150,000 tech workers were laid off globally as contagion spread across markets. The numbers were jarring for a sector that had been booming for a decade, especially as the world moved online during the pandemic. Many tech CEOs expected bullish growth trends to continue and went on a hiring spree, fighting tooth and nail to land the very best talent.
We're going to continue to invest aggressively into the growth opportunities that we see.
But the macroeconomic environment changed in 2022, and so did consumer habits. People began spending more money on services and less on goods. Netflix lost subscribers for the first time, and tech revenue stalled. CEOs apologized for overinvesting in growth.
I want to say, up front, that I take full responsibility for this decision. I'm the founder and CEO. I'm responsible for the health of our company, for our direction, and for deciding how we execute that, including things like this. And this was ultimately my call, and it was one of the hardest calls that I've had to make in the 18 years of running the company.
Facebook cut 11,000 jobs and Amazon cut 10,000 jobs. Netflix, Spotify, Snap, Lyft, Stripe, and Plaid cut their workforces as well. Most of these layoffs were proactive measures to strengthen cash buffers as we head into the new year. 2022 taught us that the era of growth at all costs is over. Cash is king once again, and well-capitalized companies are the ones that will survive. Survival wasn't only on the minds of tech CEOs though. The US and China engaged in a heated economic and technological war. In October, the US restricted the sale of certain semiconductors to Chinese companies as part of its ongoing trade war with China.
China should love us. China.
This was a strategic move to make it harder for China to obtain advanced chips using technologies such as smartphones, AI, and military hardware. American politicians argued that China's access to semiconductors was a threat to US national security, but China called the move technology terrorism. 2022 made it clear that the ongoing tension between the US and China is only going to increase over the next few years. Biden doubled down on Trump's tough stance against China, and the US will do everything in its power to stop China's dream to topple America as the world's leading superpower. The country's ongoing trade war, technology war, and geopolitical influence war is not going to dissipate anytime soon. In fact, macro investor Ray Dalio warned that the US and China are now dangerously close to a military war. Once November rolled around, many of us felt like we had experienced enough drama and wealth destruction to last us a decade. Can this freaking year be over already? Not so fast. 2022 has set us up for a grand finale. Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto industry's poster boy, was exposed as one of the biggest financial criminals in history. The collapse of cryptocurrency exchange FTX revealed that SBF had used customer deposits as his personal piggy bank, including buying real estate worth $256 million in the Bahamas, donating millions of dollars to politicians, and issuing loans to his hedge fund Alameda Research. In a matter of days, FTX valuation plunged from $32 billion to a solid zero. FTX collapse reminded me, which 2022 had numerous times, the importance of decentralization and self-custody. Don't trust the middleman. By entrusting assets to third parties, we expose ourselves to mismanagement and theft. I remember reading this somewhere. A centralized exchange is like a public bathroom. You go in, do your business, and you go out. Don't stay for too long. FTX collapse also made me realize that there's no such thing as smart money. FTX investors included reputable firms such as Sequoia and Tiger Global. These so-called sophisticated investors claim to do extensive due diligence, but can't even spot a fraud an inch away. They're equally clueless as everyone else. I reminded myself not to blindly follow their moves and to always think for myself. I also promised not to compare myself to others. SBF is my age, and I used to wonder how he got so much further in life than me. I'll be honest, it made me feel insecure and inadequate at times. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Stay true to yourself and never wish to trade places with anyone else. But 2022 wasn't only about scams, wars, and market turmoil. We also witnessed one of the most impressive innovations in recent memory. OpenAI released ChatGPT, an AI chatbot that has the potential to revolutionize how we communicate and interact with technology. With its ability to generate human-like text and understand complex conversations, the chatbot can help you write stories, act as your personal performance coach, and draft legal documents. I even asked it to write this video's title. ChatGPT hit 1 million users in just 5 days, and it's already making a Google search feel like a relic from the past. It made me realize that artificial general intelligence is closer than I had initially thought, and getting a solid grasp of AI tools early will help me stay ahead of the curve. I'm spending a good chunk of my free time playing around with the bot, and I will continue to do so as we enter 2023. If you're interested in learning more about ChatGPT, you should check out this video where I discuss why it's a 10 times better tool than Google. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.